So this is chapter 1 called The Metabolic Power of Relaxation. Gandhi once said, "There's more to life than increasing its speed," but you'd never know it by the way many of us eat. Eating under stress is not only commonplace, it's socially acceptable and often a prerequisite for managing a job, maintaining a family, or having a life. Ava, an office worker, tells us an all too typical story. "I'm always overworked or overloaded with work, so food has to fit into my work schedule, which means nibbling at my desk whenever I can. I usually eat 2 meals a day at the office, but they're not real meals. I work, nibble, answer the phone, nibble, type, nibble, run around the office, nibble. I know I need to eat slower, but with my schedule, I could never manage it." If you're a fast and furious eater, it's time to change gears. That's because the slower you eat, the faster you metabolize. Can you recall what your body's sensations are when you eat during a state of anxiety or stress? Most people report such heart symptoms as heartburn, cramping, gas, digestive pains, belching, and intense hunger. During stress, the body automatically shifts into the classic fight or flight response. This feature of the central nervous system evolved over millions of years into a brilliant safety mechanism that supports us during life-threatening events, confronting hostile attackers, experiencing natural disasters, quickly evading or forcibly overcoming anyone or anything. In the moment the stress response is activated, the heart rate speeds up, blood pressure increases, respiration quickens, and hormones that help provide immediate energy, such as adrenaline and noradrenaline and cortisol, are released into the circulatory system. Blood flow is rerouted around or away from the midsection and toward the head for quick thinking, and to the arms and legs for the power necessary to fight or flee. Most importantly, in a full-blown stress response, the digestive system completely shuts down. It makes perfect sense then that when you're fending off an angry gorilla, you don't need to waste energy digesting your Fruit Loops. All the body's metabolic functions must be geared directly for survival. So picture yourself anxiously rushing from your apartment to the office while munching on a muffin or grabbing a fast lunch while you're overloaded with work and thinking about everything except or but food, or eating a meal when you're upset because the universe is being uncooperative about conforming to your humble demands. During these moments, the body hasn't a clue that what you're experiencing is not life threatening because it is genetically programmed to initiate the fight or flight response the instant the brain perceives stress. This means that depending on the intensity of the stress you're experiencing, each of the physiological changes that characterize the fight or flight response is activated, including some degree of digestive shutdown. So if you've ever eaten in an anxious state and had the feeling afterward that food is just sitting in your stomach, that's exactly what it's doing. It's waiting between several minutes and several hours for the body to kick back into normal digestive functioning. The famous capitalist Malcolm Forbes once remarked in defense of fast foods that just because you can get it in a hurry doesn't mean it's junk. Well, perhaps this is true, but what he didn't recognize in this statement is that just because you eat something in a hurry doesn't mean your body will assimilate it any faster. You can eat the healthiest food in the solar system, but if you eat it in an anxious state, your digestion is dramatically diminished. Your mood has affected your food. Salivary enzyme content in the mouth is reduced. The breakdown of protein, fat, and carbohydrate macromolecules in the stomach is impaired, and the blood flow to the small intestines is decreased as much as fourfold, which translates into decreased assimilation of vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients. It's not only important what we eat then, but the mental state we are in when we eat. The stress metabolism connection. The key to understanding the profound link between metabolism and stress is the CNS, the central nervous system. The portion of the CNS that exerts the greatest influence on gastrointestinal function is called the autonomic nervous system, the ANS. This aspect of the nervous system is responsible for getting your stomach churning, getting the enzymatic secretions in the digestive process flowing, and keeping the dynamic process of nutrient absorption into the bloodstream on the move. The ANS also then tells your body when not to be in digesting mode, such as when there's no food in the belly or when you're in fight or flight response. Two subdivisions of the ANS help it accomplish its dual task of digestive arousal and digestive inhibition, the sympathetic and parasympathetic branches. The sympathetic branch activates the stress response and suppresses digestive activity. The parasympathetic branch releases the body and relaxes the body and activates digestion. It might be helpful to think of these two parts of the nervous system as the on and off switches. So when parasympathetic nervous system is active, digestion is on and the stress response is off, the body is relaxed. When the sympathetic nervous system is active, digestion is off and the stress response is on and the body is in fight or flight mode. Simply put, the same part of our brain that turns on stress turns off digestion, and conversely, the part of the brain that turns on the relaxation response turns on the full, healthy digestive power. Eating healthy food is only half of the story of good nutrition. Being in the ideal state to digest and assimilate food is the other half. Chen, a charismatic 46-year-old doctor of Chinese medicine, was plagued by nagging digestive upset despite overall great health and a vast knowledge of natural healing. He felt that maybe it was time to take a look at his diet and requested my help. When I asked him some basic questions about his eating habits, I was quite surprised at the answers. Chen would stop at McDonald's on his way to work and eat 2 Egg McMuffins for breakfast in the car while rushing through the city traffic. For lunch, he'd zip over to the same McDonald's and eat 2 Big Macs in the car as he drove back to the office. After work, he ate 2 slices of pizza. Chen informed me that he wanted to feel better, but he wasn't willing to cook, bring a lunch to work, eat vegetables, or give up McDonald's. Go figure. I told him I suspected I could actually help him despite the possibility